Dad notices Toddler with the juice acting strange, takes sip because he knew something's wrong. Noticing his young daughter's strange behavior, he began to grow deeply suspicious. When she slid off her chair and stood up unsteadily, he knew. He grabbed the cup of juice from her hand and took a long sip. Suddenly, his chest was burning. Grabbing his phone, he frantically dialed 911. He knew what they had done. And there would be consequences. The Smith family from Georgia was going about a normal Sunday afternoon. Alexis, Tim, and their young daughter, Aaliyah, had decided to pop into an eatery just outside of Atlanta in Vinings, GA, for lunch after their church service. Little did they know, they were about to spend the rest of the day in a hospital ward. After Tim and Alexis had finished their lunch, their daughter began to act extremely strangely. Although Alexis understood that making mistakes is part of being human, this mistake that had been made with their daughter was unforgivable. It wouldn't be long before the consequences would become apparent. Soon, she would be demanding answers. Where was the manager? The Smiths had sat down at a table at the popular restaurant in Vinings and had ordered lunch for themselves, as well as a cup of apple juice for 18-month-old Aaliyah. It was a normal enough request. After all, the family had been patrons of the restaurant for years. Little did they know, things were about to take a frightening turn. Aaliyah sipped on her juice as they all enjoyed their Sunday meal. They hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary. At first, everything was normal, Aaliyah's mom said tearfully. It was only when their plates had been cleared and they were about to leave when they noticed that something was very wrong with little Aaliyah. They watched as their daughter's eyes became unfocused. They tried to ask her what was wrong, but she was acting extremely withdrawn. At first, they didn't think too much of it. Then, she got off her chair and began to stagger. It was at this point that Alexis knew that something wasn't right. Was she suddenly sick? Then, Tim grabbed her cup of juice. We were about to leave, my spouse got the juice, it was in the kid's cup, he tasted it, and his chest started burning, Alexis explained. When she saw her husband's reaction, she took the cup of apple juice from him and tasted it herself. The taste was familiar, but she couldn't quite place it. After all, she was expecting a sip of apple juice. When Alexis sipped the juice, she also felt the distinctive burning sensation in her chest. She couldn't believe it, but it had happened somehow. Then, she knew without a doubt what it was. Their daughter had been served something else entirely. Alexis screamed for the manager while Tim called 911. How had this been allowed to happen? The manager of the restaurant walked out the back, alarmed to see two furious parents and a scene unfolding. Alexis thrust her daughter's cup of juice in his face and asked him to explain. Confused, he took a sniff. That definitely wasn't apple juice. But then, what was it? And how had it gotten into the little girl's cup?